Good afternoon, and welcome to our July board meeting. Gorgeous, gorgeous day, and you guys are here. That's great. I hope everyone is enjoying their summer, and I just ask everyone not to forget to visit our wonderful, wonderful parks and everything that's going on this summer. And before we start, I would just like to ask everyone to please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Led by Councilman Cochran.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So as I was saying about visiting our parks and all of the wonderful events that are going on this summer, don't forget our town pools, Shipwreck Cove in Bayshore, the spray park, very, very popular. And we're working on our second spray park at Roberto Clemente in Brentwood, taking a little longer than I would like, and I'm sure everyone else would like. But that was an aging facility, the dive pool and everything that was there. So there's a lot of work going on, sort of not that we can really see, but underground with the systems that have to be put in place. But it's coming along nicely. Also, we've got many, many renovated playgrounds. A lot of the pocket parks have been renovated and are in full swing, no pun intended. But go to the website, islipny.gov, and you'll see a complete listing of all of the activities. And our staff in parks, they're really working so hard. And if you go to any of the events, the movie nights, you'll see the kids there really enjoying the crafts and the games and everything that the staff has planned for them. And last night was movie night at Broadway Avenue Park in Sayville, and someone said to me, this is like an old-fashioned drive-in. Everybody's there in their blankets and really enjoying everything that was going on. So it's really nice to see, and we thank the staff for all of their efforts. On Thursday, July 25th, we'll continue our 335th birthday celebration with the Town of Islip Ducks Day at the ballpark in Central Islip. Tickets are $9 and they can be purchased at Cultural Affairs, and the game begins at 6:35. Also, we are organizing, we are recognizing two of the Town of Islip Harbor Masters who came to the aid of 6 people on Sunday, June 30th, and that was quite a storm that we endured here in the Town of Islip, as was across the island. It was very interesting. In some parts of our town, it was as if nothing ever happened, and in other parts, it was total devastation. I'd ask these two gentlemen to please come forward. When the storm swept through the island, it was less than a half an hour left a path of destruction in its wake. Harbor Master Dan Offerman, and Bob Beck. Also, I would ask our Deputy Commissioner of Public Safety, Tony Prudenti, to join us. At approximately 3:15 in the afternoon, the Harbor Masters Offerman and Beck were searching for a disabled 40-foot vessel that was reported on UHF radio as running aground during the violent storm that had just occurred. Offerman observed a small white object on the surface of the water. Upon closer inspection, they discovered 5 people, 2 adults and 3 children in the water. Beck carefully positioned the vessel and brought all 5 people aboard. Upon interviewing the father of the family, it was learned that the family was on a 16-foot catamaran that was overturned by the wind. The family treaded water for approximately 30 minutes before being found by our wonderful harbor masters. You must have been like knights in shining armor when they saw you. They had to be so grateful. Just a few minutes later, these same 2 harbor masters observed a sailboat in distress west of the town's marina in Atlantique. They saw the mast and boom had collapsed into the water during the violent storm, leaving the male occupant stranded on the vessel. The harbor masters helped the gentleman aboard the harbor vessel and towed the sailboat to Atlantic Dock. I had gotten a phone call in between when all this was happening from the gentleman who they rescued, and it turned out it was our district attorney, Tim Sinney, and he was just so very grateful for these two gentlemen. And I told Tim that we would be recognizing them at the town board today, and certainly invited him to attend, but called this morning and unfortunately is not able to be here. But he really sends his heartfelt appreciation and, was very grateful that we were recognizing you guys today. So please join me in saluting these two fine gentlemen and the rescues that they performed. So on that same day, just a few yards away in the town's marina in Atlantique, dock attendants Connor Dennehy and Tyler Vogt and dockmaster Frank Franzone came to the aid of boaters and beachgoers who were in the marina when the same storm hit. Would you gentlemen come forward, please? So Connor saw a boater on the southwest side having trouble securing down the boat, and he jumped out of his vehicle and assisted the boater with more ropes and secured the boat. At that time, Tyler was assisting older families with shelter in a shed and guiding as many in from the storm and securing all of their belongings. Hearing that an electrical pole had snapped, Tyler then ran to the south bathrooms and kept people away from the pole until the storm was over. Connor and Frank drove to the east side of the marina where they saw boaters having extreme trouble securing their boats, again jumping out of their vehicle and running through the hail to assist the boaters in securing their boats. They did a great job acting quickly, making sure that everyone was safe, and we're so grateful that they were safe through all of their ordeals that day. So please join me in recognizing Tyler Vogt, Connor Dennehy, and certainly our dock master, Frank Franzone, who does a great job there. For our next recognition, I'd like to ask our resident veteran, John Cochran, to please join me, in addition to Steve Castleton, who sort of has made it his mission to honor vets from across our great county. And our next honoree this afternoon is Frank Romeo. So Frank, if you would please come forward. Frank has made it his life's work to educate returning veterans as well as young people about PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, and its debilitating impact on individuals as well as society as a whole. This year, as Frank celebrated his 70th birthday, yes, he's 70, hard to believe, he walked across New York State, living in homeless shelters, eating in soup kitchens, and visiting organizations frequented by our veterans to bring attention to the debilitating effects of PTSD. During his 3-month, 750-mile trek, he documented the stories of veterans displaced by PTSD. These narratives will become the basis of a documentary film. In their own words, these veterans shared their experiences, their struggles, and their shattered dreams. As their stories are woven together, along with commentary by experts in the PTSD field, the documentary film will not only build an awareness of the crisis, but also shine a light on how to move forward in saving the lives and dignity of so many of our veterans. This project will benefit many lives and possibly change the way America looks at our homeless population. Frank also is working very closely with the Bay Shore School District in a curriculum change. It's been added to the curriculum in 11th and 12th graders, social studies, about what it really means to be a soldier. So please join me in recognizing Frank Romeo for raising the awareness of the effects of PTSD and thanking him for all of his efforts. Frank? We have a citation for you, but before I present it, I would like to ask Steve, Frank doesn't know about this, but there's a little surprise being planned, and Steve, if you would please share it.
Angie knows I do a lot of work for the New York Jets and the NFL in promoting all their salute to service and everything games. But first things first, a lot of people don't realize what PTSD is and the extent of PTSD. I'm sure many of you have iPhones. You know that default alarm sound? Be careful if it goes off around a veteran who just returned from Iraq or Afghanistan. That's the same sound as incoming. So you'll see a lot of veterans see that sound and you'll see a reaction. That's PTSD. So there's all different kinds of degrees. People talk about that number 22 veteran suicides a day. That's not the scary number. According to the National Center for Suicide Prevention, for every successful, and that's the word they use, suicide, there's 25 attempts. That means 550 veterans a day are attempting suicide. Over 200,000 a year. That's the number everybody should be talking about, but of course, that's not the numbers you hear. You hear the 22 number. The 22 number is bad, but it's that other number. Anyway, so what the Jets do, and with the NFL, they have an annual game, Salute to Service. This year it happens to be against the New York Giants. So I go around in the tri-state area. Angie called me up a couple months ago about Frank and mentioned about everything Frank did about his 750-mile walk. We want him to walk a little further, okay? We'd like him on November 10th at the Jets-Giant game to join with all the other veterans and first responders and walk out with the Giant flag before the game and the pregame ceremonies. There'll be about 500 veterans, Gold Star families, Blue Star families taking part. Special Forces para-commandos are going to jump in before the game. There'll be an enlistment ceremony for future soldiers. There'll be veterans there from all the way from World War II all the way up to future soldiers. And it's a great bonding experience. And what Frank did, you know what? A lot of people don't realize this. His walk in 750 miles, I guarantee you, in the long run, it's going to save 750 lives.
I'm very humbled by this. It's 3.5 months living with our homeless veterans. To me, those two words in America should not exist, homeless veteran. I documented their stories, each laced with a PTSD story behind it. And you cannot imagine how life-changing an experience it is to live with our homeless veterans. We need to refocus, we need to rethink our approach and move forward with them, embracing them and reaching out to them. PTSD is serious. I suffer it for 50 years, and it's no joke. So I am humbled by today. Thank you so much. Thank you, Angie, John, everyone. Please, thank you so much. I'm really blown away by this. I can't believe it. So thank you.
You deserve it. I'd just like to also recognize our town board member, John Cochran, a veteran himself of 30 years, who has not forgotten the veterans and works on a daily basis, helping them as best he can in his district, in his office here in Town Hall. So, John, I thank you, and I know that you assisted with that committee with Walk with Frank, so we thank you very, very much. So, Frank, here you go. So, we have one other group to honor today, and we're really, really pleased to do so. And I'm going to have Councilwoman Mullen share with you
We would like to honor today Connecticut baseball team. If you guys want to step up. And guys, we're just so happy you could make it. I know it's the middle of summer, but I know your season went pretty late, right? So thank you again for joining us today. And to your parents, because I'm sure without them, it wouldn't be possible, right?
Yes, thank you so much. And when you started out, you said humbled by the hero that went before, but I think these are our future heroes and leaders. So keep doing the good work you're doing, and with 10th graders on that team, I guess you will be back next year.
I hope so. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And I think, too, I appreciate the fact that someone came down from the Board of Education. I really think that speaks a lot. When the coach spoke about family, it really takes everyone pulling together for a district to be successful and have programs like this that do well, and certainly the Board of Education plays a key role. So congratulations to everyone at Connecticut.
Thank you.
I made reference earlier to the storm on June 30th, and it really brought to bear, I guess, the fact that our staff in the town of Islip is really absolutely incredible, and I may sound a little less than objective, but so what? They're great. They really, really are. Parks, DPW, DEC, everyone pulled together. That storm hit around 3:15 in the afternoon. Within minutes, these guys were on the ground doing what needed to be done, working very, very closely with PSE&G. And I think that's important. You know, sometimes the utilities take a bad rap, but the president of PSE&G immediately sent out a text alerting me to the fact of how many houses were out and that they would be trying to get everyone restored as quickly as possible. In the town of Islip, we had over 70,000 outages. And as I said earlier, in some parts of the town, it was like nothing happened. The cleanup was long and laborious. But even today, I received a letter from a constituent who couldn't say enough wonderful things about our town crews. So I would ask the commissioner to come up to give us some of the details about what that really all meant.
Thank you. Let me apologize in advance. It's a little lengthy, this report. It's reported in regard to DPW and Parks, and it's an update basically where we are at, and I'll include the storm within that. So good afternoon, Madam Supervisor, members of the Town Board, Madam Clerk. I appreciate the opportunity to recap DPW and Parks and the progress we made over the last year and the ongoing storm cleanup. We're approximately 60% completed with our paving program. DPW continues to fill potholes. We're approximately filled 40,000 to date this year. As you know, we do 2 rounds of sweeping each year. We've completed the first round last week, and we will do the second this fall. We continue to manage our concrete and curb sidewalk program with our contractor. We continue to nip away at our large inventory of tree removals with our contractor, which has been exacerbated due to the June 30th storm, where both DPW and Parks engaged in a joint effort to pick up the vegetated debris left by the fierce storm. The following is associated with the cleanup. There were over 1,000 loads and approximately 2,000 tons of debris that went to our compost facility. It also left in its wake over 300 trees down, of which 20 of these trees were on houses, 17 trees were on cars, 15 on fences, and the rest across driveways, roads, wires, and et cetera. To the supervisor and the town board's credit, this town did what a lot of towns may not have done. They actually went through every area of the town, picked up all the vegetated debris, which, by the way, was completed in approximately 10 working days. After the initial sweep through the communities, we resorted back to the DEC regulations for picking up debris, and it's business as usual. I'd like to thank the DEC Commissioner, Greg Hancock, and Ken Moses for making themselves available and leaving the compost facility open longer hours than usual. Not only is the debris off the road, but because of the efficient composting facility, it is likely already chipped, mulched, and back in our communities. That said, it is likely because of the unexpected expense I may be coming to the board, the next meeting, to request an infusion of dollars to replenish these budget lines so we can navigate through the rest of our calendar year. We continue to aggressively address drainage issues, especially in the low-lying areas. With a little bit of snowfall this winter and the large amounts of rain, it's a challenging task. We have finally completed the major drainage project on Terry Street in Sable, and it is working well. This was a combination of DPW and Parks working together to complete this remediation. As an organization, we continue to update our town infrastructure, such as Central Islip Center renovations, the roof, lighting, etc. Brentwood Recreation Center received new air conditioning. The Holbrook Golf Course had an installation of a temporary bathroom due to a fire. We have a new state-of-the-art, over $1 million irrigation system that's been completed at the Brentwood Golf Course, along with significant improvements to the grounds. Great news, as many of you are aware, the Maple Avenue project in Bay Shore, initiated by the TEP grant, was successfully completed and allows the safety of our walkers, bike riders, and vehicular traffic. Moving on to parks. At the end of June, we successfully kicked off the summer season, opening the town's 3 pools, 5 ocean beaches, 7 bay beaches, and Shipwreck Cove Spray Park. This season, we have a new concession vendor at both Byron Lake and Roberto Clemente pools, so keep your eye open for those excellent menus. Currently, we are in the final stages of a very ambitious 2019 playground installation capital projects. The Parks Department identified 10 playgrounds in need of replacement throughout the town. Many of these playgrounds were originally installed over 20 years ago. Parks, working closely with DPW, did much of the prep work and currently is finishing up the landscaping and other site improvements. Included in the new playgrounds is the first safety turf surface installed at Ellery Street Park in Brentwood. The innovative artificial turf surface provides excellent safety standards while improving the maintenance and cleanliness of parks. This winter, the town began the chore of rebuilding Eastview Drive fields in Central Islip, which, as you all know, was dropped in our lap with many challenges. We have replaced large sections of fencing, rebuilt infields, and addressed the irrigation system. We are now finalizing concrete work throughout the facility. Once this work is complete, we will have taken a major step toward improving the playability of these fields and creating a safer environment for our children to play on. In addition, we are evaluating and implementing a town-wide infield redevelopment program which allows us to deliver better fields and improve our ability to maintain them. Moving on to Roberto Clemente Park. We have seen steady progress with the improvements there. After last year's grand reopening, the refurbished pool was opened this year and at the end of June, along with all of our other pools and beaches. Use of the pool has been great. We had over 500 people use the pool on July 4th. And in the 18 days the pool has been open, more than 4,000 guests have come through the gates. Work at the spray park is continuing. Much like an iceberg, the bulk of the work to date is below the surface and includes over $1 million of pipe installation, new filtration systems, and many underground infrastructure improvements. Foundations are being set for the spray features, and the delicate process of piping all those individual features is underway. Health department inspections are being scheduled throughout the summer and the process to keep the project moving forward. And to date, we have passed them all. Work will continue throughout the summer with completion planned in October. Note, this is a very ambitious project and requires patience as the work continues. Other improvements coming this fall at Roberto Clemente include a skate park, which consists of finalizing the design as well as a competitive bid process. Along with that will be the restoration of the parking lot, which will include all the concrete work and sidewalks. And finally, the town has seen a significant progress in Phase 4 of the reconstruction of the Bayshore Marina. Not only does the newly constructed boardwalk replace an aging bulkhead, but the EP wood and the raised dock puts us in a much better position to face future storms and changing tides. On hold for the summer months, the construction will begin again in mid-November once our boating season ends, and we will complete this long-awaited bulkhead reconstruction project at the Bayshore Marina. Whenever it is advantageous, both Parks and DPW come together and address situations in a timely fashion. This is making a very lean, efficient organization. I appreciate the board's time today and look forward to this exercise in the future. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Tom, I'm glad you mentioned the health department because, you know, sometimes they too get a bum rap, but they have been working very closely with us to try to expedite the process because each step of the way, the health department has to come in and do the necessary inspections, and they've been very, very cooperative, so we're very grateful for that. Okay, thank you so much. We have one other presentation, if you will. At last month's board meeting, one of the speakers brought up the topic of the parking management program in Bayshore. And there were some misstatements, if you will, or inaccuracies. So I asked Joe Ludwig, who was there from the very beginning,
in the implementation of the program to kind of give us a little bit of a timeline on how we got to where we are today with the parking management program for downtown Bay Shore.
Joseph Ludwig, Controller for the Town of Islip, 401 Main Street, Islip, New York. Good afternoon, Madam Supervisor, members of the Town Board. So as you mentioned, the brief little history, this whole program started back in 2013, and the genesis of the program started from complaints that I believe Councilman Cochran had received from the business owners as well as the Chamber. And the complaints that we were receiving was lack of parking, employees parking on Main Street, Fire Island residents, not residents, I apologize, Fire Island users and visitors taking up spots in the back lots at the train station, at the marinas for weeks on end, thus preventing people from being able to come down into Bay Shore to use the facilities. Based on these complaints, Councilman Cochran, as well as other members of the town, we developed a parking management committee. We had reached out to an outside consultant who is proficient in these areas and has instituted parking management programs in other municipalities, both on Long Island and off. And as a result of these meetings, it was determined that parking meters might be the way to alleviate the program. It was around this time that the committee, I should say, invited Donna Perricone, the president of the Chamber of Commerce, to come down and explain what the town was looking to do. And it was not going to be done without her buy-in, as it were. She understood the program, she understood the issues, and had given us her green light, and the project proceeded. In 2014, the town board adopted a bond resolution 4-0, as Supervisor Croce was deployed at the time, to approve the purchase and installation of parking meters in Bay Shore. The meters were installed in a phased-in program where we started on Main Street and in the train station first. We then moved down into the Maple Avenue and Bay Shore marinas, and then ultimately in 2017, we went live with the backlots in downtown Bay Shore. What we found during this time was Bay Shore had continued to thrive. The statement that Bay Shore is hurting and that the businesses are hurting based on the planning applications for new businesses to come in seems to be contrary to what has actually happened, as there has been new business. There have people who've come into Bay Shore after the parking meters were installed, so they knew full darn well what was going on. Sorry, I lost my note. What we also found was by installing the meters, the Fire Island folks had a place to go and park, which opened up the spaces in the backlots in downtown Bay Shore. It opened up available parking in the train station for the commuters of the trains. So the program had worked the way that the Parking Management Committee had planned on it. That is not to say that the parking management program was perfect. The town board, to your own credit, has made many revisions to the program, such as installing more free spaces on Main Street, changing the times as to which the meters were going to be live and on. The town board has also agreed during certain events that go on in downtown Bay Shore to turn the meters off, such as their Live by the Bay, their summer concert series. The town board has also turned the meters off for the month of December to help the small business during the holiday shopping season. So the town board has been receptive to the complaints and to the questions and the concerns of the employees that work in the area, as well as the business owners that are in that area. And it should be noted that we talk about the parking management and that there's parking meters in the back lots of downtown Bay Shore, but it's just under 60% of the available spots are free. And the purpose, and again, the whole purpose of the parking management program is to make full use of all the lots that are in downtown Bay Shore. And while it may not seem like it worked, we have dispersed the employees away from the prime parking to allow customers to use Main Street parking. We have moved the employees to the outer spots, the free lots as we call them, to allow the center of downtown Bay Shore, which is where the meters are, to be used by the customers. And that was really the whole intent of the parking management program. Another complaint that has been made is that why are these meters in no other hamlet within the town? And the answer to that is fairly simple. Bay Shore is unique to every other hamlet within the town in the sense that, to my knowledge, no other hamlet's Main Street has apartments on top of the businesses. And if they do, it's certainly not to the extent that we have in down Bay Shore. Bay Shore is a thriving hamlet. Between the shops, the restaurants, and the people who reside there, parking is clearly at a premium. All these things funneled into why Bay Shore is I don't want to say treated differently, but that's why they have the meters and no other area really does. That does not mean that the town does not continue to look for areas where meters may have a purpose. Just recently, we were talking, and I don't want to speak on behalf of the board, but we were just recently discussing the Great River train station and how typically there's always people parking on the grass. Well, we're looking to see if that is something that can be constructed into better parking and accurate parking, to pave it, to make it legitimate. So there may be meters that go in other lots if that's what we need to pay for the improvements that we've done. There have been two other major statements that have been made. One was that the money is being illegally diverted into the town's general fund. This is not true. The parking lots that are there are general fund lots. So the money that's derived from those lots by right goes into the general fund. The follow-up argument to that statement is that the money is not being diverted back into Bayshore. You just heard Commissioner Owens talk about the Bayshore Marina Phase 4. He also talked about the work that was done, I forget what street it is, but it's the TEP grant. You factor in the paving that we've done at the train station, the paving that we've done in the back lots of downtown Bayshore, with the expectation of paving and working on the lots north of Main Street in downtown Bayshore. When you factor all these programs in and additional security cameras and irrigation at the train station as well, the town has reinvested, and I have my number here, so please hold on, in excess of $5.7 million back into downtown Bayshore. The meters that are there and the revenue that is derived from those meters is used to pay the debt service, which is funding all of these projects. Based on the historical information, I'm expecting 2019, I forgot what year we were in, I expect 2019 is going to be just about a break even on the parking meter program, meaning the money that's generated from the meters, from the tickets, reducing the administrative costs, and taking into account the debt service that the town is paying, it's basically paying for itself, which basically means that the rest of the residents of the town of Islip are not paying for Bayshore-specific projects. The other thing that was mentioned, and this is kind of a confusion, but we had mentioned in a Newsday article a few weeks ago that total salaries were in excess of $257,000. What that neglected to point out is that's not just salaries. That's salaries and all the related fringe, the health insurance, the retirement system plan, the town's portion of FICA and MTA taxes. The average salary for the 3 employees who do this is $53,000. It should also be noted that they are not just out there writing enforcement tickets. On any given Saturday or Sunday morning, down at the marina, down at Maple Avenue docks, you'll see the parking management employees basically becoming traffic cops. And that's not a knock on any traffic police that we may have, but it's an essential service that they provide, because when everybody's rushing to catch that first ferry at 8 o'clock in the morning or 9 o'clock in the morning, it is a madhouse down there. And with our employees that we have down there, they have done a great job in directing the traffic to keep the flow of traffic moving. So at no point do we have cars lined all the way back up to Montauk Highway as we used to have back in the day. Let's see. That's kind of the overview and the basics of it. Like I said, it was something that was started back in 2013, and really the plan was formulated at the end of 13 into 2014. And like I said, it was done in with the buy-in from the businesses and the chamber.
All right, thank you very much, Joe. All right, I guess if there are no other questions or comments, we'll go to the next portion of the meeting, which is the, do we have any public hearings? Yes, we will begin with our first scheduled public hearing and ask the town clerk to please read the hearing notice.
Okay, thank you. Today's public hearing is to amend the uniform traffic of the Code of Islip with regards to Schedule C, prohibited turns, Schedule D, U-turns, Schedule E, one-way streets, Schedule G, stop and yield intersections, Schedule H, speed limits, and Schedule J, parking, stopping, and standing.
Thank you, Olga. Are there any questions? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion to close the public hearing and adopt the changes.
Second.
Motion by Councilwoman Bergen, second by Councilman Cochran. All those in favor? Opposed? The motion carries. That concludes our scheduled public hearing. We will now move to the public portion. We have a number of speakers signed up to speak. Just to remind everyone, you have 3 minutes to bring your town-related issues forward. And again, I would just ask that we be cognizant of the time and that we be respectful. And our first speaker today is Jim Schlau. Jim?
Hello, everybody. Jim Slough, 415 Clift, 51 years. I want to go over this prohibited noises thing one more time. There's never enough time on the clock to finish it. I want to read from the code here. There seems to be some confusion. All right. This is prohibited noises. A, electronic devices, including but not limited to radios, phonographs, and television sets. The using, operating, and permitting to be played, used, or operated of any television or radio receiving set, musical instrument, phonograph, or other machine or device for producing or reproducing of sound in such a manner as to disturb the peace, quiet, and comfort of the neighboring inhabitants, or at any time of louder volume than is necessary for convenient hearing of the person or persons who are in the room, vehicle, chamber, or area in which such a machine or instrument, phonograph, machine, or device between the hours of 11 and 7 a.m. Now, you see, that's where the problem is. When I go to the police meetings, they say that they can't do this at any time. Now, I saw that interview you had on the television with the four-star police officer, and you didn't mention anything about codes or noise enforcement. When the police come, they say they could do this up until 11 o'clock. So does that mean that when they start this stuff at 12, that we have to put up with this for 8 hours and then hope that the police department isn't so busy that they can't come and stop it at 11? Because you say here, in this, it says at any time, but that, see, you're confusing even the police, because sometimes they come over and they argue with me, about it. And sometimes you get a good police officer who's sympathetic with you, and they go over there and they stop it. I told you, these parties are ridiculous. It's almost every Saturday. We had one Sunday, but I went over there because the police were too busy. This time I went over there, and I couldn't believe it. They shut it off for me. You never get that. That was really something. And a lot of these houses that are doing this, they're packed with people. And I went to the assessor's office to check this out. They're paying the same taxes I am. How could they possibly be paying the same taxes that I'm paying in a single-family house with 3 people in it? And they got 5 people to a room. They got apartments in the garage, apartments in the basement, dormers. Who's building these? Is anybody inspecting them? What's going on? I mean, how is it possible that they're paying the same taxes I am and they're raking in money like crazy? And by the way, when these parties are going on, I'm a vet, and nobody cares about that, all this pomp and circumstance. Well, let me say, my blood pressure reaches 200 over 100. It's going to kill me. That's it.
Thank you, Jim. Next speaker, Harrison Bench.
Harrison Bench, 107 Collins Ave, Sable. Good afternoon, thank you. Before I go into what I'm going to speak about, I know, Madam Supervisor, your office reached out to Rob Hayes for Joanna's resume for ITech. So I have her resume, I have a few copies, and we'll also email you a copy. If she's missing anything or you need anything else.
Well, just to set the record straight, Harrison, I did mention that we were opening it up to other students
Yeah.
within the town. So there's something going on the website, sort of a call to any interested students, because we
Oh,
can't
absolutely.
just keep it
I understand. I
closed
just for
little
her
group. We have
specific-
to open it up to everyone.
Absolutely, but for her
Okay.
specific application.
Okay, thank you.
that's- Of course. So basically, here's what I'm gonna say. So this is my 16th council meeting over the past 2 years, and it's my last for a while. Next month, I go down to college in South Carolina. Over the past 2 years, myself and representatives from my group have attended these council meetings and individual meetings with all of you. In my opinion, we've built relationships, and although there have been times when we disagreed on certain policies or procedures, I feel like both my group, the students in my group, and all of you have learned something about student activism and student involvement in the civic process. Whether it's on climate change or not, I hope that you've all seen that students really can be passionate about issues that seem over their heads. So I just wanted to basically, in addition to handing in her application, as she will be selected, possibly selected from a group of applicants, as you just mentioned, I just wanted to thank you for allowing a kid like me to feel included in the local government process. And although there's still a lot to be done, and the group will be meeting with you even after I'm no longer on the island, I'm content with what we've been able to accomplish. I'm proud of my group, I'm proud of myself, and I'm proud of all of you for the progress that we've made on this issue. A student on the Islip Town Environmental Council, Greg Hancock, our appointed Sustainability Director, and I was just talking with the Commissioner of DEC. We're pretty close to getting NYSERDA's Clean Energy Community Distinction. That's a tremendous step for our town to make, and I'm really happy that we were able to help you guys herald that in. As you enter an election season, I would just ask that you guys keep in mind not only, of course, the issues that affect your entire electorate at large, but the issues that students feel passionately about. Because even though youth may not be able to go into the polling booth and vote a certain way, they very much do care about the issues that surround the town of Islip, whether it be environmental issues, which is what I've been primarily concerned with, or issues such as overdevelopment in their towns. So with that, I just want to say thank you and enjoy the rest of your summers.
Thank you, Harrison, and good luck as you commence your college career.
Thank you.
What school are you going to?
University of South Carolina.
Nice.
Yes.
Columbia.
Thank you.
Next speaker, Joe Fritz.
Good afternoon, Town Board. Joe Fritz, Brentwood resident. I'm here to address the residents seated behind me and those watching on Islip television about the overdevelopment of our beloved town. Our quaint neighborhoods are being sold off to the highest bidder. Islip Town, the heart of Suffolk County, is morphing into Queens, brick by brick, by a unanimous board, vote by vote. Heartland, the largest development in the Northeast Corridor, is just one example. This project is so large, will impact so many residents, that the Suffolk County Planning Board made recommendations. Those recommendations included a maximum building height of 5 stories. The town took all of 13 minutes, voting 5-0, and totally ignored the Planning Board's recommendations, throwing out the window. They gave their largest campaign donor what he wanted. In the unanimous vote, Wolcott got his 10-story, 113-acre first phase, and Islip residents get LaFrac City East. The urbanization didn't stop with Brentwood. Just 2 weeks ago, the board voted 4-1 for yet another complex in Oakdale. The town approved a 4-story complex which will have a view of Sunrise Highway while we sit at the Oakdale Merge in traffic for 45 minutes or over an hour if the board approves the zoning change at Island Hills. Can we trust the town in the Island Hills application? Or will the town side with Rekla, the developer for the Sayville project? Is urbanization coming to Sayville? We need a board to represent the residents of the town, not the developers. We need a board who will listen to its residents, not the developers. We need a government which we can trust. Every resident should let their voices be heard before it's too late. I asked the town board, on behalf of the residents from Brentwood to Bayport, can you hear me now? Thank you.
Just a point of clarification, Mr. Fritz. The Suffolk County Planning Commission recommended that this town board adopt 9,000 units for Heartland.
5 stories.
Please don't shout out. The Suffolk County Planning Commission recommended, and again, it was a recommendation, that all 9,000 units be approved. This town board, in consultation with the planning board, the planning department, felt it was more judicious to just approve phase 1 of the project. Thank you. Next speaker, Patty Montanino. have papers you would like. I'm sorry. Okay, Pat Montanino, Campbell Lane in East Islip. Mr. Cochran, February 28th, 2017, you voted on number 8 of the agenda, which pertains specifically to an amendment to a Shellfish Bay Bottom lease. Also on April 25th, 2017, number 23, you voted for equipment for a shellfish hatchery. And many more times, you spearheaded this program to your own specific needs, then you purchased the lease. Now, it states in this letter from the Ethic Board that Mr. Fallon was on a waiting list, and Mr. Fallon, who did not sign the lease for this shellfishing, you did. Funny, it was not even signed in the presence of the supervisor. Also signed 2 weeks later by Ms. Carpenter. Mr. Fallon was also given work from the town of Islip. He owns 8 Acme radiators on Carlton Avenue. He also generously gave to your campaign. You have, with no question, violated the Code of Ethics, all of which was ignored after stating publicly that the meters would be removed by 4,000 residents who gave in a petition. I'm wondering, you're also leasing out parking spots in Bay Shore from your insurance company. I'm wondering if you're cheaper than the metered parking. You also created an electrical company on the preferred vendor list for Islip electrical inspectors. You also insure many fire departments in the township. Again, all of this big ethical violations. I'm just scratching the surface here, but this board is certainly a big disappointment. There are residents, they're not even a thought to this board. This board only says what it wants the public to hear, and that's not the truth. On this letter from the Board of Ethics, Mr. Capisano says, it is the board's opinion with one dissenting vote, the councilman may participate in the program as a member of the company, provided the councilman publicly discloses his relationship. But the town board that deals with the leasing program and any general matters, you are to stay away from, and you never did. Thank you.
Again, a point of clarification, there is no preferred vendor list that comes from the planning department. What there is a list of vendors who are licensed in the county to do business.
No, it is
Next
a preferred
speaker.
vendor list.
Next speaker
that comes out
is
every
Nick
year.
Lopagato.
Hi, Nick Lopergallo, 54 Harwood Avenue, East Islip. Last month I came here to speak about the intersection of Union Boulevard and Harwood Avenue in East Islip, and I just wanted to say thank you for listening to me and replacing the street light at the intersection, as well as adding the new double extra large stop signs to the intersection. It's not a stoplight, but it is a step forward, and it's I hope that it will prevent more accidents in the future. So thank you again.
Well, I can't thank you enough for coming down. This is kind of how it's supposed to work. People bring issues forward. We do the best that we can. It's not very often that someone comes down to say thank you. So I know, speaking on behalf of the rest of the members of the town board, we're most appreciative. Have a good summer, and a safe one, too. Also, I just wanted to let you know, a letter did go to the precinct about possibly beefing up the enforcement along Union because it is an issue of speeding. You can't get away from it, but enforcement is the best key. So they have been pretty cooperative in that endeavor. Thanks again. Next speaker, Greg Pepe.
Greg Pepe, Islip, New York. I'd like to start off, being a conservative, a registered conservative, also a delegate for the Conservative Party. It's kind of discerning to have Mary Kate Mullins seeking signatures against the Republican nominee at the primary last month. That would be Anthony Piccirillo. Now, Anthony was out there in February against the Island Hills project, standing on Lakeland with signs opposed to that. Also, Heartland project, okay? So he has my full backing. But to backstab him like that, I don't think was appropriate. Secondly, when Ms. Montanino just finished up about John Cochran and his involvement with the Electrical Inspection Agency, that agency is a Town of Islip agency. To be on that list is not like being located in the yellow pages under electrical inspectors. That's a list of inspectors that perform electrical inspections on behalf of the Town of Islip, okay? So I can't go, if I have a permit to build, I can't go to Joe Schmo and say, come and do an electrical inspection on my home. I have to choose either John's company or any of the inspectors that are on that list. He is profiting through me paying his company. He's advertised on the town's list of inspectors, okay? So that's a direct conflict of interest, all right? And him voting on these big projects like Heartland or the one Reckler's proposing in Island Hills, how much money is he profiting off these electrical inspections? We don't really know. We probably never will. But this is what's happening. We have Westbrook being built behind the old Grummins over there in Oakdale. But with all this going on, it seems like you turn a blind eye. Now we have Joe Ludwig coming up here telling us that this pilot program of parking meters, okay, which was only a pilot program, turned into a reality for these people in Bay Shore paying an extra tax when they go park or want to go shopping. I know John is smirking. I know. Look at him. See how he smirks at you? This elected politician, hopefully this November, we can boot 3 of them off those seats, because that's the only change we're going to get, folks. Because 4,000 people signing petitions for just a handful of businesses. What do we have? Mickey's, an embroidery shop, Frank and Marie's pork store over there, maybe a few other. How many we have? 5 stores? But go to Main Street and walk on Main Street and ask those store owners what they think about those meters. They want them pulled, okay? So don't make it look like it's all rosy. The money on Maple Street was grant money. That was federal grant money. To be continued.
Thank you, Mr. Pepe. Where do I begin? But I won't. Next speaker, Bill Mullaney.
Good afternoon, Town Board. I live at 25 Crosby Street, Sable, New York. I've been there 25 years. The people at 32 Crosby Street decided, when they split up, the woman decided she was going to run bed and breakfast across the street from my house, which she's been doing for months now. I've gone to the code enforcement department. They tell me, yeah, every 2 weeks. They tell, call back in 2 weeks, call back in 2 weeks, call back in 2 weeks. She's already got an illegal apartment downstairs with 4 people in it. Now she's running a bed and breakfast. My wife just had heart surgery, and I have to listen to slamming doors all hours of the night, coming and going, people walking up and down the street that I don't know. I live on a quiet dead end, and it's ridiculous. They tell me there's 6,000 people waiting to be seen. Well, then you ought to do something about getting more inspectors. And then she tells me if code enforcement comes and they don't answer the door, we can do nothing. What is the sense in having a code enforcement if you can't enforce the code? It is just absolutely ridiculous. I have proof here. She's on the internet with bnb.com. I want you to take this. And it's just ridiculous. And now she just lowered the price to $80 a night. She takes 4 people a night, and they just party all night, and they do what they want, and they run up and down my dead-end street, which used to be quiet for 25 years. It's just ridiculous, and I don't think I should have to wait 6 months for somebody to come and look at the problem. because it's out of hand, and I spoke to her, and so did my wife, and she said, I have to do what I have to do. I said, get a second job like everybody else. No, she's running a bed and breakfast in Sayville and illegal apartments. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mulaney. Now, that address is 32 Crosby?
That's 32 Crosby Street.
Okay, I will definitely give it to Public Safety. Thank you. Next speaker, Mylan Aguilis.
Mylan Auglis Sayville. I haven't been here in a while, just wanted to touch base and let you know that we haven't gone away. My group is still very strong and active. We're working on the letter writing campaign. We're also working on our petition for the supermajority to enforce that. We've done a survey of over 2,000 Town of Islip residents. The results will be coming soon. We have one of the questions were you for or against the zone change? 97% were against the zone change. There was a summary of other questions, but that will be a presentation at a different time. We are working on another protest. We were very successful in our first fundraiser. We're working on another fundraiser. And we have over 2,000 emails collected. So that's 2,000 voices that I can reach via my Greater Islip Association and all the other civics that I work with. I always say power in numbers. We definitely have the numbers, and we're not going away. So we hope that you will respect our community and not allow for a zone change. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Next speaker, Royetta Alston.
Good afternoon. My name is Royetta Alston. I live in Central Islip. Thursday morning around 9:30, next to me, 25 East Cherry Street. The windows was boarded up there, was closed up, the house, and somebody came in there, pulled the boards off the windows, broke in the door, and saw the man in there, called the police department. They came. And they talked to the guy, and he said he came in there to clean up the house, which that was a lie. And I called the town of Islip, had the fire department, had the fire marshal to come in and check. So they came late on that day, but the boards on the window need to be put back up because it's a hazard. The grass need to be cut. It's all grown up, and the grass hasn't been cut since last year. And that's what's calling people to come in and try to live in there. Too much grass. And also, we need some help trying to get a police camera down on Low Avenue by the store down there on the corner called the Four Corners. The community, we need help to see if get a police camera there. Because do a lot of drugs in that area. And that's it.
Marietta, could you just tell me that address again?
It's 25 East Cherry Street.
25 East Cherry.
Yes.
Okay.
It need to be boarded up again. The boards is on the ground.
All right. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
Susan May.
My name's Susan Moy, Sayville. I'm just here because I'm requesting extra time to clean up a nuisance, you call it. And the town's not giving me this time, and I don't think that's right.
And it's 27 Holmes Street? And the hamlet is that Sayville?
Yes.
Okay. All right. When that comes up on the agenda, it will be discussed.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Kevin Shapiro?
Good Good afternoon. Kevin Shapiro, 851 Smithtown Avenue, Bohemia. I'm just here a couple reasons. One, like Ms. Augula said earlier, I haven't been here in a little while, and I just wanted to say hi and touch base and just remind everyone that as an organization, the Stop Island Hills community is still around and very strong. Typically, I come up here and pontificate on my concerns about this project, but I think today, what I'd rather do is I'd like to ask each of you, ladies and gentlemen of the council, I know the application's not complete and we're still awaiting the environmental impact study and stuff, the SECRA. I was wondering at this point where each of you thinks you may stand on the project at, to this point.
Well, again, it's not a question and answer period, but I'll allow you to finish speaking and would ask the town attorney respond to that request when you're done with your comments.
No, that's.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
If you would.
Yeah, at this point, there is not a complete application before the board. It would be improper for them to give an opinion.
I'm not
at
asking
stage.
I know this is on the record, but I'm simply saying just as a general opinion, I'm not,
But
nothing legally
any statements that they were to make at this time could be used in an Article 78 if it's challenged by either the applicant or the community. So
Would you mind just, what is an Article 78? I'm just not
if
familiar.
if after the board makes a determination, it's challenged,
Okay.
that's the vehicle that you do so with, in Article 78.
So, just so I understand, so at this time, for legal reasons,
Yeah, there's no
Nobody can really say.
application before them at this point, so they can't render an opinion at this time.
now, at what point would they be able to? That's only after the secret is
After-
completed and the
after,
application
After the
is...
secret is completed, after the applicant has an opportunity to put a presentation, after the community has an opportunity to put all their comments in.
Okay. And just one further thing, I appreciate the change that you guys made to the protocol as far as changing it so that there are more meetings at night. I think it moved from 2 to 4. And I would just like to ask on behalf of myself and the community if you may consider making more of them at that 6 o'clock start time, as, in general, I think that would make these meetings much more accessible to all the constituents and maybe just help get, people more involved in what's going on in the town. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Shapiro. And as counterintuitive as it may sound, there are more speakers at afternoon meetings than there are at evening meetings. That is all the people who have signed up to speak. Do I have a motion to close the public hearing, portion rather? Motion by Councilwoman Bergen. Second by Councilman O'Connor. All in favor, opposed? The public portion is closed. We will now go to the agenda. First item on the agenda this afternoon are the appropriation transfers. Are there any questions?
Motion to approve?
Motion by Councilwoman Bergen. Second by Councilwoman Mullen. All those in favor? Opposed? Resolution is approved. The next item is an authorization for the supervisor to execute an agreement with Compass Group USA, Inc. to provide vending machine services in various locations in the town. Any questions? Motion by Councilman Cochran, second by Councilwoman Bergen. All those in favor? Opposed? It is approved. Item 3, authorization for the supervisor to enter into a 5-year license agreement with Bayshore Brightwaters Rescue Ambulance to continue operating a garage, maintenance facility, meeting place, and headquarters facility at 911 Aletta Place, Bayshore. Any questions? Motion by Councilman O'Connor, second by Councilman Mullen. All those in favor? Opposed? It is approved. Item 4 are the bid awards.
Motion.
Motion by Councilwoman Bergen, second
Second.
by Councilman Cochran. All those in favor? Opposed? It is approved. The next item on the agenda are the option year resolutions. Any questions?
Motion to approve?
Motion by Councilwoman Bergen, second by Councilwoman Mullen. All those in favor? Opposed? Approved. Next item are the board up and cleanup resolutions. Taryn, if you would.
Good afternoon, Madam Supervisor, members of the Town Board, Town Clerk, Taryn Jewell, Town of Islip, 655 Main Street, Islip, New York. Number 1, to board and clean up the premises located at 10 Miller Avenue, Central Islip. On this vacant and unsecured property, there now exists unsecured windows and doors, evidence of squatters, an unsecured shed, an unsecured in-ground pool with high grass, overgrown vegetation, and litter and debris, which constitutes a nuisance and presents a fire, safety, and health hazard. Notice of this hearing was provided to all known persons with a property interest in this premises.
Are there any questions?
Motion, please.
Motion by Councilman Cochran, second by Councilman Mullen. All those in favor?
Abstain.
Opposed? We have 4 in favor, 1 abstention by Councilman Bergen. It is approved.
Number 2, to board and clean up the premises located at 20 Willow Street, Central Islip. On this vacant and unsecured property, there now exists unsecured windows and doors with high grass, overgrown vegetation, and litter and debris, which constitutes a nuisance and presents a fire, safety, and health hazard. Notice of this hearing was provided to all known persons with a property interest in this premises.
Are there any questions? Motion by Councilwoman Mullen, second.
Second.
Second by Councilman O'Connor.
Abstain.
All those in favor?
Aye.
4 in favor, 1 abstention. The motion is approved.
Number 3, to clean up the premises located at 27 Home Street, Sayville. On this property, there now exists overgrown vegetation with an extensive amount of litter and debris, which constitutes a nuisance and presents a fire, safety, and health hazard. Notice of this hearing was provided to all known persons with a property interest in this premises.
Taryn, this is the property that earlier one of the speakers came forward and asked for some time. Have you been in contact with them?
I have, but we're ourselves and the fire marshals are unwilling to give her time. There's a 5th District Court case. This is the second time that it's in court, and nothing's been done at the property since the first time they were in court 2 years ago. If you look at the pictures, that's been the condition of it. for the
I mean,
last 2 years.
every application you come up and say it proposes a safety hazard. Looking at these pictures, it should have been done yesterday.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Health issue,
If ever there was a saying, a picture says 1,000 words, this is the one.
yes. So that's why our position was the way it
Yeah.
was. I don't know.
Just looks really dangerous.
Yeah.
I make a motion to clean up.
Motion by Councilman Cochran, second by Councilman O'Connor. All those in favor? Opposed? It is approved, and we have 1 abstention.
Thank you.
Next item.
Number 4 has been withdrawn as it is now in compliance. Number 5, to board and clean up the premises located at 62 Lemon Street, Central Islip. On this vacant and unsecured property, there now exists unsecured windows and doors with evidence of squatters, high grass, overgrown vegetation, and litter and debris, which constitutes a nuisance and presents a fire, safety, and health hazard. Notice of this hearing was provided to all known persons with a property interest in this premises.
Any questions? Motion? Motion by Councilman Mullen, second by Councilman Cochran,
Abstain.
abstention by Councilman Bergen. 4 in favor, motion is approved.
Number 6, to board and clean up the premises located at 72 Joyce Drive, Hauppauge. On this vacant and unsecured property, there now exists unsecured windows and doors with high grass, overgrown vegetation, and litter and debris, which constitutes a nuisance and presents a fire, safety, and health hazard. Notice of this hearing was provided to all known persons with a property interest in this premises.
Any questions?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Cochran, second by Councilman Mullen. All those in favor?
Aye.
4 in favor, 1 abstention. The motion is approved.
Number 7, to secure the premises located at 78 South Ocean Avenue, Bayport, with a locked chain link fence. On this vacant and unsecured property, there now exists unsecured windows and doors, which constitutes a nuisance and presents a fire, safety, and health hazard. Notice of this hearing was provided to all known persons with a property interest in this premises.
Are there any questions?
I have a question. Taryn, why wouldn't we just board this up?
So in our town system, it looks like it has historical significance, and that's why for our planning department, so that's why we can't board and clean it, but the fire marshal suggested doing a 6-foot chain link fence that's locked.
And it appears that there's, some sort of fencing.
Oh, right,
Yeah.
I think it's a wooden fence that's
Right.
around it, but it looks like it's only about 3 feet high.
Was that from us, do you
I
know?
believe, I'm not sure it's from
Okay.
us, I don't think so, I think it's from the homeowner.
Okay, thank you.
Any questions? Motion? Motion by Councilman Mullen, second
Second.
by Councilman Cochran, abstention by Councilman Bergen. 4 in favor, it is approved.
Thank you.
We will move now to the next item on the agenda, which is the meeting of the Town of Islip Industrial Development Agency. Motion to convene by Councilman O'Connor, second by Councilman Bergen. The Industrial Development Agency meeting is convened, a quorum being present. Mr. Mannix.
Good afternoon, members of the agency board, Madam Chair. William Mannix, Executive Director, Town of Islip Industrial Development Agency, 40 Nassau Avenue, Islip. We have 5 items for your consideration today, the first of which is approval of the minutes of June 18th meeting.
Motion by Councilman O'Connor, second.
Second.
By Councilman Cochran. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The minutes are approved.
The next 4 items are all authorizing resolutions that you saw once before at our previous meeting as inducement resolutions. First of which is for Alphamed Realty LLC, which involves the construction of a new 90,000 square foot building on South Technology Drive in Central Islip.
Any questions? Motion by Councilman O'Connor, second. Second by Councilman Mullen. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It is approved.
Next item is an authorizing resolution for Cabinetry by Design, which will be moving from Deer Park to an existing building at 1,000 Sylvan Avenue in Bayport.
Are there any questions?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Cochran. Second by Councilman Mullen. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approved.
Next item is an authorizing resolution for Cundig Contracting, which will be purchasing 2076 Fifth Avenue in Ronkonkoma.
Any questions?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Bergen.
Second.
Second by Councilman Cochran. All those in favor? Opposed? It is approved.
And the last item on the agenda is an authorizing resolution for Carlisle Hopog Property, and this involves the construction of a $31 million assisted living facility in Hopog.
Any questions? Motion? Motion by Councilman Mullen, second.
Second.
By Councilman Bergen. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It is approved. Any other business?
No other business for the
Hearing none, a
agency.
motion to adjourn the IDA meeting by Councilman O'Connor, second by Councilman Mullen. We are adjourned. Next, we will move to the meeting of the Town of Islip and Economic Development Corporation. Motion to convene the meeting
Motion.
by Councilman Cochran, second by Councilman O'Connor. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The meeting is convened, a quorum being present. Bill, if you would.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the Corporation Board. I have 2 items for your consideration today, the first of which is the approval of the minutes from our last meeting on January 15th of this year.
Any questions? Motion by Councilwoman Bergen, second is by Councilwoman Mullen. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It is approved.
And the next item on the agenda is a resolution authorizing an amendment and new fee structure for the Town of Islip application for the Economic Development Corporation. We're trying to bring the application for the EDC in compliance with best practices, current best practices, and bring it in line with the application for the Industrial Development Agency, and also increase the fees to the same level as the IDA.
Are there any questions? Motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Councilwoman Bergen, second by Councilman Cochran. All those in favor? Opposed? It is approved.
No other
Any other
business.
business? No other business. Motion to adjourn by Councilman Cochran, second by Councilwoman Mullen. All those in favor? Opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you, Bill. Next item on the agenda, authorization for the supervisor to enter into a license agreement with Ray Maglulio for one parcel of town-owned Bay Bottom land for the purpose of shellfish cultivation in the Great South Bay. Any questions?
Motion.
Motion by Councilwoman Bergen, second by Councilwoman Mullen. All those in favor? Opposed?
Recuse.
We have 4 in favor, 1 recusal. The motion is approved. Next, item 10, authorization for supervisor to enter into a license agreement with Daniel Glaganic and Keith Powell for one parcel of town-owned Bay Bottom land for the purpose of shellfish cultivation in the Great South Bay. Any questions? Hearing none, motion? Motion by Councilwoman Mullen, second by Councilman O'Connor. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Recuse.
We have 4 in favor, 1 recusal. The motion carries. It is approved. And we now go to item 11, which is the meeting of the Town of Islip Resource Recovery Agency. Motion to convene by Councilman O'Connor, second
Second.
by Councilman Cochran. All those in favor? Opposed? The meeting is convened, a quorum being present. Mr. Baloo, to see you.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the agency board. Martin Baloo, President of the Islip Resource Recovery Agency located at 401 Main Street, Islip, New York. I have two items for consideration for the board today. First one is the approval of the minutes of the June 18, 2019 agency board meeting.
Motion by Councilwoman Mullins, second by Councilman O'Connor. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It is approved.
The second one is an authorizing resolution for optional services to the existing contract between the agency and Lockwood, Kessler, and Bartlett, Inc., which commonly known as LKB, for the partial capping and closure of the construction and demolition, C&D portion of the Blythedale Queenville landfill.
Any questions? Motion by Councilman Cochran, second
Second.
by Councilman Bergen. All those in favor? Opposed? Approved.
That concludes the
No
business.
other business, but before you leave, I just, again, want to thank you, along with the Commissioner of Parks and Public Works. Your department did a fine job. The guys were out there working, so cohesively with all of the departments. And, again, a lot of really, really positive comments, so we thank you very, very much.
Thank you. I'll let all the employees know.
Thank you. The board really appreciates it. Pardon me? We have a motion to adjourn. We have a motion by Councilman O'Connor, second by Councilman Mullen. All those in favor? Opposed? The Islip Resource Recovery Agency is adjourned. We now will move to item 12, establishment of a standard workday for elected and appointed officials for the town of Islip as required by Regulation 315.4 of the New York State and Local Retirement System. Any questions? Hearing none. Motion?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Bergen, second by Councilman Mullen. All those in favor? Opposed? It is approved. We move now to item 13, authorization for supervisor to enter into a contract with Intelitech Security Services for PSE 1-2019, monitoring, maintenance, and installation of alarms, fire, and intrusion detection. Any questions? Motion by Councilman Cochran, second. Second by Councilman O'Connor. All those in favor? Opposed? Approved. Item 14, authorization for the supervisor to execute a renewal agreement with the New York State Office of People, or for people with developmental disabilities for grant funding for therapeutic recreation modern dance program provided by the David Sanders Dance Dynamics Company. Any questions? Motion by Councilman O'Connor, second by Councilwoman Mullen. All those in favor? Opposed? Approved. Item 14, that was 14. We will move to 15. Authorization for the supervisor to execute any and all documents required to apply for and accept grant funding from the Dormitory Authority of the State of New York for construction and improvements to the Casamento Park soccer field in West Islip. Any questions? Motion by Councilman Cochran, second by Councilman Mullen. All those in favor? Opposed? Approved. Item 16, Town Board acceptance of the dedication and maintenance of Amy Drive in Sayville. Any questions? Motion? Motion by Councilwoman Mullen, second
Second.
by Councilman Cochran. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. Item 17, Town Board acceptance of the dedication and maintenance of Sejan Drive in Sayville. Any questions? Motion by Councilwoman Mullen, second
Second.
by Councilwoman Bergen. All those in favor? Opposed? Approved. Item 18 is the authorization for the supervisor to execute any and all documents required to accept funding from Suffolk County for the completion of the Islip and East Islip Round 9 downtown revitalization projects. Are there any questions? Motion by Councilman Cochran, second. Second by Councilwoman Mullen. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It is approved. Item 19, authorization for the supervisor to enter into a one-year contract extension with SIPCO Boarding Company, Inc. for a contract DPD 218, board up and secure various properties townwide. Any questions? Motion? Motion by Councilman O'Connor, second.
Second.
By Councilwoman Bergen. All those in favor? Opposed? Approved. Item 20, authorization for the supervisor to amend an agreement with Johnson, Kukata, and Lucchese Engineers, P.C. to provide professional engineering services for the Department of Aviation and Transportation at Long Island MacArthur Airport and the Bayport Aerodrome. Any questions? Motion by Councilman Cochran, second by Councilwoman Bergen. All those in favor? Opposed? Approved. Item 21, authorization for the supervisor to enter into agreement with Landrum and Brown, Inc. for planning services for the West Concourse redevelopment terminal planning study. Any questions? Motion? Motion by Councilwoman Mullen, second by Councilman Cochran. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. Item 22, authorization for the supervisor to declare property located at Smithtown Avenue, Ronkonkoma surplus property and approve the sale to Suffolk Transportation. Any questions? Motion? Motion by Councilwoman Mullen, second by Councilman Cochran. All those in favor? Opposed? Approved. Item 23, authorization for the supervisor to declare the property located at Carlton Avenue, Central Islip surplus property and enter into a contract of sale with the transfer fee simple title to Gullhaven Commons. Any questions? Motion?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Bergen, second by Councilman Cochran. All those in favor? Opposed? Approved. Item 24, authorization for supervisor to enter into a lease agreement with South Bay Paddle Wheel Cruises, Inc. to utilize the premises for its exclusive use for the berthing of its 75-foot paddle wheeler. Any questions? Motion by Councilwoman Bergen, second by Councilwoman Mullen. All those in favor? Opposed? It is approved. Item 25, Town Board approval for the establishment of the Street Naming Review Committee to review requests for the proposed ceremonious naming of town roads. I'll make that motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Cochran. All those in favor? Opposed? Approved. Item 26, Town Board amendment to the 2019 Town of Islip capital budget. Any questions? Hearing none. Motion? Motion by Councilman Cochran, second by Councilman O'Connor. All those in favor? Opposed? Approved. Item 27 takes us to the bond resolutions. Okay. These will require a roll call vote. Okay, the first bond resolution is for the construction of lighting improvements at Long Island MacArthur Airport. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Bergen, second by Councilman Cochran. On the vote, roll call, please, clerk.
Supervisor Carpenter?
It really should go to the person who made the motion and then the
I'm
second.
just doing it the way bond council has it.
Bond council does not dictate the roll call.
Okay.
Okay?
The motion, the second, and then.
Okay, council, however you want me to do it.
Okay.
Sure, so,
The motion was
Councilwoman
Bergen.
Motion, yes.
Councilman Cochran,
Yes.
Supervisor Carpenter,
Yes.
Councilman O'Connor.
Yes.
Councilwoman Mullins. Yes. Motion passes unanimously.
Okay, that'll take us to the second bond resolution. Get that one out.
This one's a little bit tricky because it's an amendment to the existing one.
Mhm.
So the motion would be to authorize a $3.5 million increase to the September 19th, 2017 resolution adopted by this board relating to the construction of new animal shelter.
Okay. So as stated by the town attorney, we're amending the September 19th resolution on the animal shelter and increasing the funding. Do I have a motion? Motion by Councilman O'Connor, second.
Second.
Second by Councilman Cochran. Roll call on the vote.
Councilman O'Connor?
Aye.
Councilman Cochran?
Yes.
Councilwoman Bergen?
Yes.
Supervisor Carpenter?
Yes.
Councilwoman Mullen? Yes. Motion passes unanimously.
Okay, thank you very much. We move then to special events, which is item 28. Any questions?
Motion to approve.
We have a motion. I'm sorry.
I believe there was an item with a block party that had to be detailed.
Yeah, we have spoken to the person that inquired about it. They are going to be speaking to their neighbors, but it's fine.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
motion on the record.
The motion by Councilwoman Bergen, second by Councilman O'Connor. All those in favor? Opposed? It is approved. 29, Town Board approval for the appointment of Alessandro Bologna to the position of Fair Harbor Dockmaster. Any questions? Motion by Councilman Cochran, second by Councilwoman O'Connor. All those in favor? Opposed? Approved. Item 30, authorization for the supervisor to enter an agreement with All County Amusements to hold a 4-day carnival at Brookwood Hall on Thursday, August 8th through Sunday, August 11th, 2019. Any questions? Motion? Motion by Councilman Mullen, second by Councilman Cochran. All those in favor? Opposed? It is approved. Item 31, authorization for supervisor to execute any and all documents required to apply for and accept grant funding from the Dormitory Authority of the State of New York for repairs and improvements to Brookwood Hall. Any questions? Motion by Councilman Mullen, second. Second by Councilman O'Connor. All those in favor? Opposed? It is approved. Last item on the agenda, 32, authorization for the supervisor to apply for and accept grant funding for renovations to the front entrance of Brookwood Hall. Any questions? Motion? A motion by Councilman Mullen, second by Councilman O'Connor. All those in favor? Opposed? It is approved. And hopefully we'll see everyone at the Ducks Long Islip Day at the Ducks on July 25th. And motion to close by Councilman Bergen, second by Councilman Mullen. We stand adjourned. Thank you.